that wasn't what I was expecting, but, well, it happened.
Entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. It is dark, because the sun went down. For a moment, I thought the electric work is not up to par. That clearly is not the case, as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a monumental task, considering the size of my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere. Eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later. My skin starts to prickle, and there is the distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me. It only spurs me on my search. And when I do open the lights, there is a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
Green.
St. Patty's Day? There at the end of the hall is my beloved husband, with his face on one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Is it like absinthe or something?
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe?
Yes. Sorry.
Good guess.
You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke.
Look at her face.
Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hana, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
Dang.
Ow! He went there.
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
She was with Zachary.
The photographer.
Right. Unless she's gonna say something weird.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
I have no reason to tell lies. It's not like I'm guilty of anything. But as Luke's expression turns, he makes me feel like I'm actually to blame for something. He has a way of making me laid bare with just a look. That really struck me when we'd first met years ago.
That giant Negro? You were having a secret meeting behind my back and it was with him?
What are you implying?
I'm implying nothing. I'm just worried. You know better than to trust those media types, Buttercup. He must have been really friendly to occupy your time like that. But all he's looking for is his next big headline.
He's a photographer for an interior design magazine.
Doesn't matter. You let one little thing slip, one wrong move, and it'll blow up in the telly in the morning. He'll go to his journalist friends to gossip and make a quick quid.
His eyes were the first thing I noticed about him.
Bloodshot.
They were like nature, the grass and the trees, wonderful and breathtaking. Now, as I look at him, they're nothing but the same shade of green as the bloody damn drink in his hand.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Excuse me again? We're talking about you, Hana.
No, I am pretty sure we were talking about you and your drinking problem, Luke, right?
Hangover forgotten, during the course of this little spat, the man jumps to his feet and seethes. It looks like he's barely stopping himself from throwing the nearest thing he can find.
Oh, it is not a problem. I can stop whenever I want. And even if it was, I think you can very well stay out of it, as it only affects my own kidneys or liver or whatever the bloody hell that shite pollutes. Whatever aftermath that occurs because of your little chit-chat with the Negro affects the both of us, however.
Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Well, now I think I'm getting jealous. Or I would be if it weren't for this damn headache.
Maybe you should drink more.
Maybe.
Supper is spent in silence, with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast has been served. Well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. A platter of native oysters for starters, and tranche, and tranche of the turbo. I don't know how you say either of that. With purple sprouting broccoli, lemon capers, and anchovy sauce for mains. To finish it off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard.
The first noise was from there.
Oh,
but
okay.
I was mocking it.
But when our appetites are appeased and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of night, I sit in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcome.
The dead girl's gonna show up.
Even if it's warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There's no need for tears. However, I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I have faced before. This is a minor setback in what I hope will be a long and happy life. That laugh. To remind myself that this is the place for Luke and our future children fills me with a renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled. Yet at the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering is standing right beside me. Yes, I do.
Bam. Light change. Oh.
Hearing it sends a chill down my spine. It makes my skin prickle with goosebumps.
Bam. Light change. What?
Who is that? Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen.
What if it's like Rose or someone? She's not dead yet. I'm just thinking.
And into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
Obviously.
I'm curious and concerned, but there's no way I'm going down into a dark and humid underground. I am not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. It is one of the household help. They'll surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they're still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will open the hatch, call them out. Open the hatch, call them out.
What do you think the difference would be?
Well, one of them is calling them out, and the other is opening the hatch.
Tell me more. Well, like...
Well, opening the hatch lets
I
us go...
assume means that she would go down.
Yeah, we go down or the thing comes out at us versus just calling.
I feel like if we call them out, they're not going to. Because she already said, hello, is anyone there? And they're just crying this whole time. But she said she wasn't going to go down there. I'm assuming it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
But
if we go down there and then it'll close, we'll get locked in.
That's true. But if it's not the monster chick, what if it's really a person and they went there to hide? Or if it's a person and they're trapped down there? I don't know.
It's the middle of the night. You hear crying coming from your basement.
I would call for someone else to come help. But that's not an option. Okay, the horror story.
Horror story trope is that
down.
the horror story trope is that we go down into the basement and then we get killed. Yeah.
Let's do call them out then. You think?
I thought you were saying that as a prep to like, let's go and get ourselves killed.
No, because in the movies I'm always like, don't do that. You're obviously gonna get killed, you know? So don't do that.
Okay, then we'll call them out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean...
All right, we'll be boring. We'll call them out. And knock 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no results. I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times than what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out.
You, in the cellar, do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
How long I'm standing here, however, I'm starting to think myself as a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feeling I have, especially as the wailing took on an eerie turn. The thought of being played with doesn't sit too well with me, and I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me? Why, I ought to...
I freeze as a hand clamps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel, unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest.
Hold on. Do you think it's the dead lady or like Johannes?
Well, that was definitely a woman crying.
No, the person clamping on her shoulder.
Oh.
If it's the dead lady, I think it's like a real person down there hiding from her. Not like trying to coax her over there.
You say if the dead lady's on the shoulder, then it's obviously, yeah.
That's what I think. I mean, it could be that the dead lady was just trying to get her in the kitchen.
Oh.
But I mean, she could go anywhere, so why?
Well, from what I've understood of how this game seems to be going, is that this is probably a fake out and it's going to be Johannes's grabbing our shoulder. That's my guess.
Okay. Let's see.
But the touch is gone as quickly as it had seized me.
Uh-huh.
It is only Johannes. It is only Johannes I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that.
Like that.
You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I was...
But there's nobody in there.
I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
He grows silent for a moment and just looks concerned. At least I'd like to interpret it as concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern, as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand to my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm glad we didn't go down there.
Mm-hmm.
In the cellar? Can't you hear her?
Madam, Hannah, no one is down there.
Well, then go down and check it out.
Right.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief.
How would she open it then? You know, because that was one of the options.
Uh-huh. Maybe it wouldn't let us.
Never mind.
I don't know. But when I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the hatch for good measure prove his words to be true, too. Thing won't budge unless I had a key. Sort of power tools. Short of using power tools on it, yeah.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience.
It's Johannes, he's the killer.
But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he's saying makes sense, and who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? I'm just tired, that's it. Long day of moving, the interview, dealing with Luke, that has been all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
Good night, Johannes. Good night, house.
It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there is something wrong with this house, or there is something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight.
What?
Huh?
Can we check our new tabs?
Relationship. Zachary went way down.
Yeah.
No. And they could have been good friends.
It's alright. Maybe with the other characters. Maybe once we play Zachary.
Return?
Huh?
And the journal's just stuff as we're coming to what day?
28th today.
Oh, it's the 28th. So nothing, we must have skipped a day or two then, perhaps?
What was the babies? Go back.
They're talking about,
Those kids look
They're
so
talking-
cute. They don't have
Mhm.
noses. It's perfect.
boop, boop. And the absinthe.
Alright.
Happy anniversary! Okay. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found. And trying to call him on his mobile is a bust. It literally goes straight to his voicemail. It's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today of all days is a bit unsettling because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I'm much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today's going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully, he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all.
Why wouldn't they have changed the paintings?
Alright.
That's what I find strangest.
Because budgets. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright Mansion. Every person of importance from Luxburn is invited, and there will be a few guests flying as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Marianne and I discuss business, and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the right mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had to acquiesce. I feel like one of those words is in the wrong tense. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have any guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead. Always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right, then.
But the helipad was the best idea. It was the best idea out of all of them.
Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his request right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfamiliar this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, a lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she's interested or not. Although she does make things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I may say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...?
Yeah.
I don't know. Be honest with me?
Yeah, be honest.
Be honest? Okay.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it. I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea.
She obviously knows she's talking about them.
It's my friend, and they have this problem. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her on a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get at the heart of the matter. I suppose I'm not as clever as I think I'd like. As I'd like to think. Think I'd like to be. Yes. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We've put up the act for We've put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne's just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to a career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
Our lives.
But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There's a calm, despite the nature of what had just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I am not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years. Well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that all these small spats, these little disagreements will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. We can get through this, right? I know that I do still love him, and I feel that there's a part of him that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely, he will see some sense. There's a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs and we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies.
Bites? A few bites and a drink? I'm questioning that she's Scottish. She's gotta be. It sounds more Irish to me.
I thought we said it was Irish.
Well, you said it was, but the name is definitely Scottish. Unless I have it backwards, I'm pretty sure the MC is Scottish and the MAC is Irish.
I'm sure over the years things have changed.
Sure, whatever. Anyway.
Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.